Hello and welcome. This is your money coach, MoneyFit MD. For those that are tuning in for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am a money coach and I work with women physicians to help them with their finances so they can declutter their finances, transform their relationship with money, and they can start to live life on their own terms. Today, I will be talking about a topic that I think is really important. So it's this idea of paying yourself first. So a lot of times we hear that word being thrown around so much that we don't even know what that means anymore, right? You know, you could say, well, I'm going to pay myself first. I'm going shopping, and that's okay if you want to go shopping, right? I'm not anti-shopping. I'm pro-value-based living, conscious spending. However, what we're finding though is that a lot of households, both in healthcare and outside of healthcare, actually live paycheck to paycheck. And I was reading it was a blog that I was reading. It's not a recent blog, but I was reading recently. And it was talking about this family that was, I believe they were making $750,000 a year and their net worth was zero. $750,000 net worth of zero. That's a problem, right? And the thing is that when we don't tell our money what to do, when we don't pay ourselves first, what ends up happening is the money gets spent anyways, because most of us don't have a relationship with money. We don't know how to have money. We don't know how to spend money. We don't know how to earn money. We have this love-hate relationship where money becomes like a hot potato we have to get rid of. And most times if we don't have a set plan and set idea of what we're trying to get our money to, what ends up happening is we just live paycheck to paycheck. And that is something that I'm trying to stop in medicine, because there's so much burnout in medicine. And if we could have finances that are at least in check, that decreases our chances of being burnout. So today I will be talking about what exactly it means when people say paying themselves first and how to help ourselves do that, right? So when it comes to paying yourself first, it's this idea of paying your future self first. It's this idea of prioritizing your savings, prioritizing your investments, and then you spend whatever's left. The nice thing about this is it's actually great for people that don't like the idea of budgeting per se. You don't like the idea of a spreadsheet, but then you know that if you can just spend the money on taking care of the things that need to be taken care of, then you have the liberty and freedom to spend on whatever you want to spend. This falls in line with my automation, which I talked about in another video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, search on here or check my website at www.moneyfitmd.com. I have a video on automation. But if you can automate these ways of paying yourself first, what that does is you remove the human psychology part of things, which is where we all have all these amazing goals, amazing dreams, but we actually end up not doing it, right? So what are some things that you could do to pay yourself first? Number one is things like your retirement account, right? Every single one of you, unless you have other plans for how you want to invest and grow your money into providing for yourself in retirement, whenever that is, we should all be paying ourselves first by paying into our pre-tax accounts and also post-tax accounts. And you have to determine how much that is based on what's available for you. But most people should be doing definitely their 401k or whatever pre-tax options you have with your organization. If you have like a personal 401k, a solo 401k, if you're doing like an SEP IRA or a Roth IRA, those are things that you need to pay yourself forward first by just taking care of that. Right? The other things you can do to pay yourself first is your savings goals, your emergency funds, right? So for most people, like I've talked about earlier, your emergency funds is making sure that it's decreasing the chances of you getting into trouble if there's an interruption in your income. And if COVID has taught us anything at all, is the fact that no job in any field really is secure, right? So the bottom line is we all need to have our emergency funds, and you can decide for yourself and your family if you want that to be 6 months, 3 months, 12 months. 12 months has kind of been a little bit more fear-based, but 6 months I think is a reasonable amount, and you can have sort of like different levels of where that money would come from if you end up being in trouble for about 12 months or longer than 6 months. But if you pay yourself first by deciding how much your expenses are for that set amount of time that you've determined, then you can automate that amount so that you can have your emergency funds that's available and ready for whenever you need it. Okay. Number 3 is paying yourself first in terms of specific goals. So if you're someone that you're like, well, I want to travel those are goals that you can do. I'm gonna get married. I want to pay myself first by saving for my marriage. But the important thing is, whenever you're setting those goals, my recommendation is to make sure they're SMART goals, SMART. If you don't know what that is, go back to one of my earlier videos where I talk about SMART goals. But it's great for you. It has to be specific. It has to be measurable. It has to be actionable. You want to make sure it's reasonable for the amount of time that you're planning for, and you have to figure out what set time. So the smarter your goals are, the more likely you are to achieve it. So write down your goals and try and pay yourself first by taking care of those goals. And goals doesn't have to be anything crazy, right? It could be vacation, it could be travel, it could be what you want to buy. Like, I want to buy a car, I want to buy a house in 5 months, right? But the whole idea of paying yourself first is taking care of your long and medium term goals, so that with the short term, more variable spending that you're doing, you're not eating into what could be your long term life, really. Because in my opinion, what's worse than being broke now is being broke when you're 65. What's worse than being broke now is being broke when you're 50 years old, right? Because you don't want to be a doctor that's like practicing because you have to. You want to be able to practice before you want to, and you don't want to really be walking around with a walker and trying to practice medicine. I mean, that's the bottom line. So that's more of a joke. But the most important thing is pay yourself first. Your retirement, your insurance, meaning your life insurance, disability insurance, all those things have to be taken care of so that you can now spend whatever you want to spend without guilt. So I hope this has been useful for you. Remember to like, share my videos, and if I can be part of your journey and help you achieve your money goals, it's moneyfeetmd@gmail.com. Have a fabulous day. Bye-bye.